Once upon a time, in a quiet little cottage, there lived a woman who longed for a child. One day, a kind fairy gave her a tiny seed and told her to plant it. The woman did just that, and to her amazement, a beautiful flower bloomed. Inside the flower sat a little girl, no bigger than a thumb. The woman called her Thumbelina. Thumbelina was cheerful and curious, living happily in a walnut shell bed with a rose petal blanket. But one night, while she slept, a big toad saw her and thought she'd make a lovely bride for her son. So the toad snatched Thumbelina away and placed her on a lily pad in the middle of a pond. Poor Thumbelina woke up surrounded by water and very far from home. But Thumbelina wasn't alone for long. Friendly fish and a kind butterfly helped her escape the lily pad. She floated far away, past tall grasses and along winding streams, until she came to a field where she could rest. Just as Thumbelina began to feel safe again, a beetle swooped down and carried her away. But the other beetles thought she looked too different, so they turned her away. Once again, Thumbelina found herself all alone. Time passed. She wandered through woods and fields, sleeping under leaves and drinking dewdrops. She sang songs to cheer herself up, and even the birds would stop to listen. As autumn turned to winter, Thumbelina grew cold and weak. She found shelter in the burrow of a kind field mouse who took her in. There she met a rich old mole who wanted to marry her, but Thumbelina didn't love him. She longed for sunshine and flowers, not dark tunnels and dusty halls. One day, Thumbelina found a swallow lying injured and cold in the tunnel. She nursed him back to health through the winter. When spring arrived, the swallow offered to fly her far away to a warm land full of blossoms. Together, they soared through the skies, over mountains and rivers, until they reached a land where the sun always shone and the flowers never faded. There, in a blooming meadow, Thumbelina met a tiny prince with shimmering wings. He was the king of the flower people. They were just like her, small, kind, and full of joy. The prince asked her to be his queen, and this time Thumbelina said yes with a happy heart. She finally found a place where she belonged, among those who loved and accepted her just as she was. And from that day on, Thumbelina lived happily ever after in a flower palace, surrounded by music, sunshine, and friends. The end. If you enjoyed this story, you can watch some of our previous tales, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and join us again for more amazing stories. See you next time.